Welcome to another episode of the Carrytrainer Higher Line podcast. Hey guys, welcome to yet another episode of the Higher Line podcast. We've got an exciting discussion today with retired pro boxer from the UK, now in, I believe, Spain. Is that correct, Lloyd?
Yep, Mallorca, Spain.
Lloyd Ellett, correct?
Yeah, that's right. The only person who's got that right first time.
Why? How do people say it?
Oh, a number of ways. Elliot, that's a particularly annoying one.
There's no I in there. I didn't see it in there.
Yeah.
So you barely had any fights. You only had 70 amateur fights? That's ridiculous.
70 amateur fights, yeah.
70 amateur fights and then 23 pro fights, is that right?
Yeah, that's it, 23.
So how's your head? I didn't watch all 93 fights. Did you still count to 10?
Yeah, just about. I got out. I was 30 when I retired, so I got out before I got too bad to take too many punches. Yeah.
So you headed down to Spain, and it sounded like during the pandemic you started a business. My interpretation of it, and this is one of the things I want to share with the viewers today, you use boxing as a way for fitness for men, I think mainly over 30. So
that's right. Yep.
Adult men to develop fitness, and you do it all online. That's what you're doing now, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I when I moved here, I was still training people, and I trained some pros here as well for a bit. But the Mallorca's a really nice island, so the pros who I was training, it's not a place that really breeds fighters because it's just too nice here. So the dedication wasn't quite matched from the fighters, and I got a little bit tired of it, and so I was training people, and then COVID came, and I moved everything online.
That's an interesting point that you just made. What kind of a place breeds fighters? Like I think about in America, Philadelphia, New York. So what, as a UK guy, what does that mean? Like what sort of a location or environment?
I don't think you don't need to have come from, a terrible upbringing like I haven't. And you don't need to have, had the worst childhood or anything. But here is a bit different. It's by the beach. Everyone's the mentality is a lot more relaxed. The desires just not quite the same.
No reason to be so aggressive.
No, there's no need. There's just no need to. No reason to do it. Yeah, it's because it's hard.
How'd you grow up?
Pretty. It was pretty nice. Like I lived in. I'm from Brighton, and I by the beach, and it was went to school. I'm an only child. So, I had like good friends at school. I was always kind of a bit on the smaller side of things, and I just liked fighting. My dad had boxed as a kid. He did karate, and we would be quite physical, messing around and all that stuff. I was like that at school as well, quite a lot of energy. I wasn't like a hard guy at all. I just liked the fighting. I would actually probably lose, come out on the worst end of it more often than not. But I enjoyed it, and so I went to the boxing gym when I was about 14.
And just fell in love with it.
Yeah, pretty much, to be honest. Yeah, I just got obsessed with it pretty quick. I would, before long I was buying buying off eBay, buying like VHS tapes of like every boxer like I could find. I become a real boxing freak. I suppose I still am really, but yeah, I loved it.
What did the coaches see? Because I'm sure boxing, like every sport, there's tons of people that go shoot hoops, but they're not Michael Jordan. Uh, what did they see, or what did you have that other young men didn't in the gym? Probably a hard question to answer too.
Yeah, yeah, not a lot to be honest. Like there was when I started, there was me and another guy who was the same age as me, but I was like a 14-year-old who looked about 9 years old, and this guy was a 14-year-old who looked about 18, and he had muscles, he was big, and he was only
Puberty.
like yeah, he was only like 15 pounds heavier than me, but yeah, he was just, he had some hair on his face. My voice hadn't broke. Uh, so I won my first two fights, and just off uh, pure, just aggression and wanting to win. And, so did this guy. And his name was Luke. And I think he stopped both of his opponents. He knocked them both out. And then and then my third fight, I got in the ring, and this guy, I was in the ring waiting for my opponent to come, and this guy with tattoos, muscles, everything was on his way to the ring, and I was like, surely that's not the guy I'm fighting, and he got in the ring, and it was him, and I got stopped in the second round. My head was being used as like a swing ball.
How old was he?
I don't know. He looked old. He couldn't. I mean, legally it would have to be like 15 years old max. But I mean, he had a tattoo
Covered in
like just
tattoos.
he definitely had it, like at least two tattoos. So yeah. But and then my next fight, I got disqualified, and then in strange circumstances, both me and my opponent did. And then I lost 6 fights in a row. So, and the losses were all they were all kind of razor thin, or maybe I should have won, or so yeah, my record was 2 wins, 7 losses basically. So that doesn't sound good. And the other guy was, I think he won 4 in a row, but I then went on I started training harder, adding some more stuff, and then I started winning. And I was still, doing well in the gym with people and stuff, but I started picking up the running, doing more strength work, and I think I won about 6 in a row or something, and he lost a couple. So we'd started together. He lost a couple, and then he dipped off, and then he stopped. But so going back to the question, a long way of answering it. It was just determination, really. Well, just the fact that I actually really wanted to 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 do it long term. I wanted to win.
It had to be hard. You said 7 losses,
Yeah.
and you're a kid. So what? You're like eighth grade, just going into high school, if that's how school works in the UK, and your family's probably driving you around to all this stuff, taking you to train and taking you to matches. Did your parents or family say anything like, "Hey, maybe you should think about golf"? Or
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, no, not really. I think I have no idea what my mum thought of it, but my dad was kind of I think he knew that I wasn't getting, like, apart from that third fight where I did get beaten up. The other ones I wasn't taking punishment, and it was just kind of, I mean, boxing's so subjective anyway. You've got the stuff with it happens every week that, people getting supposedly robbed in fights, or decisions not going away. And it was just one of those things. Like in the gym I was performing, and yeah, it's so subjective. It's only 3 2-minute rounds at that level. it's just madness. Most of the judges are about 80 years old, and you know they don't
Can't
know what's
see
going on.
anything.
Yeah, um, so I was very disheartened. Don't get me wrong, I was very disheartened, and I was kind of fighting on, you know, I'd get home. I got home from a holiday once, a school holiday, skiing holiday with my school, and come back. My mum said, "Oh, Dave," which was my coach. Dave called, and straight away my heart sank. I was like, I knew what it meant. It meant I've got a fight in like 2 days or something, and so then it was like okay, and then so I was fighting in 2 days. It's stuff like I would just fight all the time, and you know you're gonna get beat now and again.
How would you, did you walk around at fighting weight to be able to take fights in a couple of days like that?
Yeah, as an amateur, I did. Yeah, yeah, as an amateur. At that kind of level, I wasn't even really starting to think about making weight. You know, as like a 14, 15-year old. But as I got older, and what in the amateurs, you kind of you because you're fighting all the time. So throughout the season, which would run from say end of August to June, it would be yeah, you need to be ready all the time.
Is it as dirty as people say, the boxing business? You see, like there's all the movies and stuff. They make the promoters and all the back door deals and stuff. Is it like that?
The pros, I'd say it's 100% accurate. There's always a guy playing Don King, isn't there? Always. There's
Yeah.
like in Rocky and Creed, and so there's like a fake Don
Always
King.
some figure, yeah, some
Yeah,
dirty figure.
yeah. I would 100% agree. Yeah, it's a business. You said it. It's a business. It's not a sport.
How old were you when you got into the pro side?
I I delayed turning pro for. I wish, looking back, I probably should have turned pro a bit earlier. I turned pro when I was 24. I went to university and studied and stuff, and then turned pro.
What'd you study?
Sport and exercise science.
Okay, so we'll come back to that. So your online course is not just a dude that's got hit in the head a bunch. That's you actually spent some time studying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So why'd you wait till you were 24? What did you do? What were you doing all those years? Did you not, I mean, you had 70 fights, so there's quite a few.
Yeah, well, one thing about the amateurs is it's a free experience. It's you fight, you lose, you win, you lose. Like it doesn't matter. Like it really
Okay.
doesn't matter. No one, it doesn't mean anything. You turn pro, and if you're learning your game in the pros, then unfortunately it shouldn't be this way, but it is. It's when your O goes, people start to lose interest. There's this like unbeaten um there's this like kind of aura around someone who's unbeaten that the TV want them, like they can use that for generates more money. There no one's interested in someone who's got losses on their record. So
Mhm.
maybe it's come from the whole Floyd Mayweather 50-0 stuff, but it's so it's kind of like this. So that's why you see a lot of top fighters not fighting each other because they're protecting the winning records. But yeah, so I wanted to I really wanted to box for England. That was my goal. I wanted to box for England and win the ABAs, like the national championships. And I didn't win the ABAs. I got to the semi-finals a few times, and I did box for England. So yeah, and I got my degree.
What does that mean that you boxed for England?
So yeah, I was on the England team, so I represented England against Ireland. So if you're in like the England team, the GB team, you'll go to international matches, international tournaments, and then potentially like Olympics and things like that.
Was Olympics anything that you had aspirations to do?
I definitely aspire. I definitely wanted to, but that's, but yeah, I lost to the guys. I lost to the guy who was number one in my weight. So and he was a good fighter. He's a good pro now as well.
Still, are you friends with him?
Um, not friends, but I don't
You're
have
you're
contact
not
with him
texting
really.
him good morning every day.
No, but he no, there's definitely respect there, and I've spoken to him since though. He's a good fighter.
Talk about so I don't know how old you are. I'm 45.
I'm 36.
Okay, so I got about a decade on you, a little less, but um, recovery, as you're aging, injury and recovery just from chronic use. Like right now, I'm sitting kind of funny in this chair because my upper back is all jacked up from jujitsu.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit.
I've honestly, I've been lucky. I really haven't had many injuries. I've barely had an injury in the whole time I've been boxing. When I missed out after the 7 defeats in a row. I had about 6 months out of boxing only because I couldn't train. I actually couldn't because I had some kind of sciatica in my back. It was agony. I had a lot of physio and then I got stronger and fitter through a lot of rehab stuff. And then I come back and I was hungry, and then I just started fighting all the time and winning everything. So so that was probably the most serious injury I've had. I fractured my thumb in a fight. In sparring. It was took my glove off and it was facing the other way. But in terms of injuries like that, yeah, I still train. I still train pretty hard as well. I feel like recovery, things like sleep, sleep, making sure you have at least 2 rest days a week. For me has been important, but that's something I didn't do when I was fighting that I should have done, because I actually feel fresher now, and because I was killing myself when I was fighting. I would overtrain all the time.
What'd that look like? How much training were you doing?
So I would always run in the mornings. I would also do strength and conditioning, and we'd also have a boxing session. So the run would either be like a 3 to 5 miles, or it'd be a track session. I would try to do 2 or 3 times a week sprints, so either steps or track or hills, and the strength and conditioning would be twice a week, once or twice a week, and we'd be in the gym boxing every day. But the thing is, like the sprint sessions and the strength and conditioning, they're doing the same thing. So I don't need to double up on the strength and conditioning as well as do 2 or 3 sprint sessions. It's just way too much. And I made myself sick loads of times. I actually got my I was waking up in the night with night sweats for a while, and like the bed completely soaked. My girlfriend thought I'd wet the bed, like it was ridiculous.
Did you?
And no, I didn't. If it was just that, that'd be funny, but no. And so I went and I went and got it. I went and got myself tested by the doctor because I thought from researching, I thought I'd had low testosterone from the overtraining and stuff, and they were like, "No, there's no way." But it was low, and
So low test will cause you to wake up with night sweats?
yeah, that was like a symptom.
Hmm.
And I was super run down, and so obviously I rested up and yeah, and come over that. But I probably had lower testosterone throughout the boxing career than I do now. Well, I would say
That's
definitely.
interesting. So you're that overtraining just beat you up and your body was just out of whack.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, massively. And also cutting weight all the time. Like I'm 12 kilos heavier than what I would actually fight at. So, being in that unhealthy, low body fat range, it's not good. It's horrible. People one really common thing that people say is that they're 5% body fat. Hear people say that they're 5% quite often, or that they've been 5%, and it's like you definitely haven't, because I
Yeah,
actually have, and it's horrible.
yeah, that's pretty ripped up.
Yeah, it's like can't yeah, just have no energy. It's not a good thing.
You you recently posted a shirtless pic I saw on your Instagram
Yeah,
page.
yeah, yeah.
What was that all about? Just wanted to get that shirt off and show some skin or what?
Yeah. Well, it's actually launching my OnlyFans. So, but no, it was. So what I was talking about there is my. So when COVID came about, my partner was pregnant, and so we had 9 months of avoiding it. And for when it first was about COVID, we wasn't allowed out of the house here in Spain. You weren't allowed out unless you went to the supermarket. So so we under the radar for quite a bit, and then when I come out, we had a few months ago. We avoided COVID. I was going to say like the plague, but yeah, like
Yeah,
COVID. And about 2 weeks before she was due to give birth, I started to feel bad, and yeah, I had COVID. So I was in the bedroom, um, locked down for 2 weeks. Then she caught it, um, and then she was fine. I was wiped out, but she gave birth, was all good. Baby didn't have it, but when so yeah, and then when I went to get back to kind of normal and stuff, I was weak, and I couldn't I didn't train properly or anything for like 2 or 3 months. And in that picture I put a before photo, and the before photo didn't look that bad, um but I was like, one of the big things I know you talk about it a lot is like I felt like, say, rather than, I like to measure my fitness by like, if something happened, if I was attacked today, I probably wouldn't have been
uh-oh.
able to deal with it.
Hold,
I wouldn't,
hold,
wasn't
hold,
confident on how
hold
I
on
would
one
deal with
second.
it.
Go back. You broke up. So you said if you were attacked.
If I was attacked, I wasn't confident that I'd be able to handle it. As
Really?
it, as in, yeah, because like fitness, like I think I had a bit of the long COVID as well, but fitness wise, I was gassing. I felt weak because I hadn't been training, and yeah, I wasn't sharp. There wasn't much sharpness there with anything. So I was, yeah,
A
you got,
dull edge.
yeah, you got to keep the sword sharp. So there wasn't the confidence of it. I'm sure I could put something together, but uh, yeah, there wasn't the confidence with it. But yeah, and I wasn't in shape. Um, so yeah, and then I went about getting in shape, and that was the after photo.
You have you ever been in like a street altercation as a adult or like late teens after you learned a bunch of boxing?
Um, yeah. There's been a couple of occasions. Yeah, yeah. No one's ever asked me that.
No, why wouldn't they ask you that?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, yeah.
How'd that go? I mean,
Um,
you see these videos where like somebody that's a trained fighter, some drunk asshole tries to start some stuff, and it's like it's usually a pretty ridiculous scenario for the drunk or the idiot.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, well, so when I was, I don't know how old I was, like maybe like 20, 21. I went to my partner who I'm with, still with now. I've been with 17 years. She was at university at a different in a different town. So I went down to visit her, and we went out for the we went out one night. I didn't drink, and then we had her boy mates were there, and they were all good. And I think one of them had an argument with someone outside or something, and just kind of stayed out of it. And then on the way home, the boys were walking in front, and I was back with the girls, and the and someone appeared in between the middle of us, and they had a bottle in the back of their behind them, as if
Wow.
to go and hit the guys over the head with it.
Such
And
a freaking British thing to have happen too. I'm gonna hit you with your bottle.
yeah, bottling. Yeah, that's quite a common term. Bottled.
Bottling? That's what you
Someone,
call it? Hit somebody with
some,
a bottle, you call it bottling?
yeah, someone got bottled. Yeah, yeah.
All
I
right.
haven't, to be honest, I haven't heard that phrase for a long time. Yeah. Feels strange saying it, but it definitely was one. Yeah. But yeah, the guy had the bottle, so I took it out of his hand and just and I was like, "Come on, don't be silly!" Like, and threw it in the bin, and he was like, kind of a bit animated, but it didn't do anything, and it was fine. But so we went back to these guys' house because they lived right by my girlfriend, and me and her left quite early. We just popped in, and then we left. We went to As we left, there was about three or four of them outside, and one of them threw. They was throwing. They threw like three of these bottles at us, which is obviously not cool. And then one of them just ran towards us. So it was just me and my girlfriend still in the porch of this guy's house, um, and I just I just dipped my head out the way and threw an overhand right, and then ran for the other guys, and they had ran, and I come back, and the guy, and actually her friends had come out and were grabbing me. They were attacking me because they thought I was the guy who was on the floor uh, down by the house. And so I was like, get off, and yeah, and thank God he was okay. He was okay in the end, but it was a bit of a shock because he was out for about 10 minutes, and
Oh, that's
um,
pretty good. That's a pretty good whack, man.
yeah, so it was like a double impact. He'd ran into it. He'd probably had a drink as well, um, and he woke up and was being a real. There was now a crowd around there. There was police there as well, and obviously I'd laid low because I, just said don't know what happened kind of thing. And then when he woke up, he was just being a complete asshole to the police, and they just told him to be on his way, and it was all over.
He didn't get arrested.
But did I get arrested?
No, I said he didn't get arrested. They let him go. He tried to attack you.
Yeah, no, because we didn't mention it. We didn't mention it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I didn't. It was all squared, so it was okay.
Did you hurt your hand?
No, I didn't. No, no, not that I remember. No, no, it was okay. But yeah, apart from that, that was actually kind of like a scary kind of 10 minutes, because it was
Hell yeah, man. You said there was three
shit,
or
is he
four of them?
okay? Yeah,
Oh,
well,
you're saying that maybe did
when
you
he was
hurt him?
out. Yeah, when he was out, because you just don't know.
Yeah, he could have whacked his head on something on the way down.
Yeah.
People die from that. I know a man that's died getting whacked outside a bar and whacked his head on the pavement on his way down and killed him.
Yeah. It's not something you want to be involved in. So yeah, and I think that was literally the last time that anything like that's happened to me.
Get some friends that aren't hanging out with drunks, Lloyd.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, they weren't my friends, but
They were your, better yet, they're the mother of your children's friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the, the program that you teach, is it, how could somebody learn boxing without being with a coach, without having them analyze you, look at you, feel what you're doing? How's that work?
Yeah, so that was one of like my kind of like concerns at first. I was like, will this actually work? Like, will this even work? And I remember the first time I posted about it on Instagram, a guy who's a PT here in Mallorca, an English guy, he messaged me saying, "What are they going to do? Punch you through the screen, hit the pads through the screen?" And I was like he was laughing. It was a joke, but I was like, God, yeah, I don't know, maybe it won't work. But um, as in people won't believe it. And so it's real boxing skills training, like it's not boxercise, and it's real boxing skills, but we're they're follow along workouts with me. So I've done every one of the workouts, and it's and I'm coaching and doing it with you as you're following along. And my clients, they send videos, and I send them feedback and instruction on it.
That's fantastic. Do you
Yeah,
have a virtual tournament where all these guys get on their screens and
no, it's a good. It's that. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I think that'd have to be in person. That'd have to be in person.
I'm just kidding. I actually,
There is,
talking about your PT, I'm working with a PT right now virtually. His name is Mike McCarsky. His social media handle is Dr. Kickass. He's a jiu-jitsu black belt, competitive MMA fighter, and he does something similar where you shoot videos of yourself going through movements, and then he can analyze them, and he tells you what to do. And if you don't do it right, you got to do it again, or you can do like video chats, but you
yeah,
talk to him and describe what you're feeling as you're moving in certain ways. And
yeah, nice. Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
yeah, yeah. That's yeah, and it works great. Like and all the sessions are like every 2 weeks we move on to a new skill set. So um the sessions are tough, they are intense, and it's a challenge, very challenging, but not to break, not to destroy, challenge but not broken, we like to say.
how long are the sessions? Are they all the same or about the same?
Yeah, they go from 35 to 40 minutes.
Okay.
And yeah, we're just like, we go through the fundamentals. I'm still filming sessions 3 years in.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
so
heard.
this is actually what I've done since, like, that after photo that we talked about. That was a few months after starting, and so that's what I've been doing the whole time. Since that's how I train, basically.
Is filming the footage for the program.
Yeah, yeah.
You still go to any, you got a fight gym in your town there? Are you still going into any gyms and actually like sparring with human beings, or just computers?
No, just AI generated robots. No, I'm not sparring. I don't think I don't think I would. Well, I know that's a lie. I definitely would spar, but I don't want to. It's a dangerous game to play, because I sparred here about God, it's like 3 years ago now, just before COVID. When I was training the pros, they asked me to spar with a guy they had there, and it was fun. It was fun, but also there was like, when you've not been hit for a long time, it's different. Your head just feels different after. Um, Not that it's necessarily really bad or anything. It's just different. And I remember and if you're not conditioned to taking shots, if you've not had it for a while, it feels, yeah, you feel different. I remember coming out the gym like, yeah, that's it was fun.
That's your body
kind of
telling
feeling
you.
this
That's your
isn't that
body
fun.
telling you don't get hit in the head.
Yeah,
You're not supposed to get used to that.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. So it's so yeah, and you know, I didn't really get hit either that much in the spa. So it's I don't think I think one of the big things now is like you want to protect your head, and sparring isn't needed. I actually so yeah, when it comes to boxing's great for your brain, but when it comes to actual contact, it's definitely not.
Hmm. What would you go back and do different if you could, if you go back to being 15, 16 years old and do it again?
It's a tough one. It's I would probably I don't think I would do a lot differently actually. I moved to London as a pro, and I was around better fighters and coaching. Maybe I would have gone to London a bit earlier as a pro when I first turned pro, but I had a good stable in where I was from as well. So I think I would have just turned pro earlier,
Okay.
and not overtrained. Yeah, I wouldn't have. I always ran like a maniac. Because when I went from being at 2-7 to then getting back a winning record, and then I was top 10 in the country and in the Four Nations. I One of the big things was I was so fit because I used to run all the time. I was super fit, and I wasn't a natural runner at all. But I worked at it, and I ran hard, and I carried on, and it was too much. Yeah, you don't need it. I would just focus more on skills as opposed to just being the fittest guy or the hardest worker.
That brings up another question. I heard you talking somewhere online about fundamentals, the basics. Uh, how important is that?
Yeah, yeah, everything. Yeah, it's everything for sure. Yeah, like when I went to the Mayweather gym in Vegas and trained for a few weeks and saw Floyd train, and obviously everything shut down and everyone just watched, but he didn't do anything that exciting. You know, we watched him train about 4 or 5 days, and in the end, it was like it's not actually that exciting. This is boring, so didn't even do it every day because he's not doing anything exciting. He's just working the fundamentals, doing the basic stuff. Um, yeah, just working the basics day in day out.
What do you think makes a guy like that so good? Is it how they are training those fundamentals? Is it the methodology? Is there some physicality and some natural attributes that a guy like that brings?
I think um, I think with him, it's and anyone like that, definitely the I think the amount of time that he's been doing it is not actually massive because a lot of kids will end up burning out and hating it. So I think it's the constant working on the basics, the fundamentals, like mastering those, and there's obviously some degree of talent and athleticism there that's kind of natural, but talent plus hard work. He would train for hours. He'd be in there hours.
Just sorting out every detail.
Yeah, yeah. Because I trained with I there I've trained every time I trained with someone who's just really naturally talented. They've never been someone um who's actually gone on and done anything. Um, because they weren't hard workers because it probably come too easy to them. And
Uh, so an
whereas
individual, they had some physical attributes that helped them have a level of success early on, against other untrained people or low trained people.
Yeah,
But then,
like the guy I started with, he was like that. But someone like, because he was like 15 years old and knocking people out was kind of like a quite rare. But he, and then you got someone like Floyd who's got the natural abilities with serious hard work, dedication. It just takes you to another level.
it's funny how that always comes up. Like I've never met anybody who's ever kicked ass at anything that doesn't seriously work hard
Yeah,
and focus when it's time to focus. Um, it it seems like there's a real short lifespan in fighting sports too. So if you don't do that, you better figure something else out.
yeah. It's definitely hard work for sure. It's a combination of things like hard work, working smart as well. Um, like not taking punishment, living clean, not giving in to all the all the temptations out there. Drink, drugs, women. Like there's lots of things that can throw a young man off track and
I,
mess things up.
so do you not drink at all?
And I don't. I would. I would probably. I mean, I don't think I've actually had an alcoholic drink for about 3 months. And then it was probably like one or two beers. I wouldn't say I don't drink, but just doesn't really ever happen. I'm never in that situation. I have a 2-year-old son, so social life's kind of pretty shit right now.
That's not shit. That's the best part of life right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I unless it's a special occasion, I would drink. I wouldn't say I'm someone who's teetotal because it's fun and it's nice, but it's got to be worth it.
Got it. Who's your favorite boxer of all time? Who'd you learn the most from or look up to the most or if maybe just follow?
I would. It's a tough one. I would say it's two guys. I would say Sugar Ray Leonard
Oh,
and Roberto Duran.
I saw you trained with Roberto Duran.
Yeah, he come to the gym and we did yeah, he did like a master class in the ring with me, which was it was incredible. Just going through the
How
tricks.
old were you? How old was he at the time? I know you guys didn't box, you were training, but how old were you and how old was he about?
That was a few weeks before my pro debut, so I was 24 and he was I I'm really not sure on how old he was. Because he was like 13 years ago, 12 years ago. So because he actually boxed till quite late.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, he was in great shape. I think he was in his 60s for sure, but he was
Could
in
you
great shape.
could you feel even like I was just watching him move in the ring with you during that video, and I think he didn't speak English, you didn't speak Spanish. It didn't sound like it because you had an interpreter. And
Yeah. That
uh,
was his son.
oh, it was a son. Okay,
Yeah.
could you still feel like, man, this is crazy? This guy's like another level.
Yeah, because when he was, if you see in the video, he's like, he touches me with the body shots and stuff. And then he does a thing where he's going through how he would beat Mayweather with the cross arm defense. And it's basically that he would break his arms from punching his arms and he wasn't hitting me hard at all. But you know why they call him hands of stone, because they were like
Yeah, you could
rocks.
just
Like,
feel him pounding into you.
yeah, he wasn't hitting me, but I could feel him. And I
Yeah,
was like, yeah, that they could be hard.
that's super cool that you got to learn from him. What was he just somebody from your gym brought him out to work with you?
So he my trainer and managers, trainer is an amateur, and manager is a pro. His name is Scott Welch. He was a heavyweight champ, and he did a number of things where he had he put on boxing shows, and he would get people to come and be like do like the after dinner speaking circuit kind of thing. So we actually had Leonard come to the gym. I did a similar thing with Leonard, but there's no footage of that. That was God, that'd be like a long time ago now. I was about 18.
How was that?
That was cool. That was really cool. He wasn't as good as the Duran one because it wasn't as concentrated like that. There wasn't as much boxing stuff. But seeing Sugar Ray Leonard skip is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. I can't even explain what he did. I can't even explain what he did with the rope, but I've never seen anyone else do that. That was nuts. The way he was skipping, and he was in his 50s at the time.
Just some crazy rhythm and movement.
Yeah, like the rope and his legs were like everywhere. It was
I'm gonna
nuts.
see if I can find some footage of him skipping rope.
Yeah, it was insane. Yeah, he just pulled it out of nowhere. It was impressive.
I've seen some videos of you skipping.
Yeah. I can skip quite well, but not like that. I couldn't do what he was doing then.
That's fun.
Yeah, but yeah, Duran was incredible. He was incredible. And we even did the dinner thing the night before so I went to that where he was talking, and the questions and answer and stuff that he was doing with everyone was so cool.
I like that you got that opportunity. What do you think of this? I can't think of his name, this young guy that does all these exhibition fights, the tattoo covered YouTube guy. What's his name?
Jake Paul?
Yeah, what do you think of him? Is he like a good buddy of yours? Do you look up to him? That was a joke, by the way.
That was I'm glad you were joking. But no, I definitely don't look up to it. But it is what it is. He's obviously taking it seriously. I'll give him that. Like I don't actually class him in the same thing as all these other YouTube guys boxing. I mean, all the other guys, that's terrible. I actually watched one of the shows and I was
what are the other guys?
How...
I don't know who you're talking about. Like, is there like a big culture of like shitty YouTube boxers?
Exactly that. Yeah, and the promotion is even called Misfits Boxing. And
so it's like bum fights or something, like just dudes.
Well, this is the thing. It's technically, yeah, but it's being dressed up as boxing, and like they're fighting on TV. They're earning good money. They're earning a lot more money than any other fighters will. Real fighters who have at a lower level are making. So it's yeah, but it's kind of like the world we're living in now. Like social, your following on social media is a big part of it. And when I was fighting, I didn't even bother posting to anything when I was boxing.
Yeah, you were working your butt off.
Yeah, and it wasn't really that much of a thing. Like I retired just over 5 years ago, so yeah, then and before they say 10 years, yeah.
Hold on for a second, Lloyd. Hold on. Our signal got choppy for a second. Hold on. Drew made a little cut here. Okay, go back. You said you retired 5 years ago.
Yeah, I retired 5 years ago, and back then I wasn't really interested in Instagram or anything. I would maybe post once every a month or something. And going back 10 years from now, when I was actually in the heat of boxing and stuff, I don't even know if I doubt I had an Instagram account. I was posting very rarely, so it just wasn't a thing. Whereas now, if he was fighting now, it'd be like after every fight there'd probably be a clip going up or something.
Yeah, it's a almost a prerequisite to being in any kind of business.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I wish I had used it, to be honest. Yeah, that's one thing I would have done a lot more of. I would have, because it was around, so I would have. Yeah, I would have actually jumped on that and got busy with it, and probably spoke, talked a bit more, kind of made some bigger fights happen. Yeah, big fights happen earlier in my career.
Do you work another job besides the online training and coaching?
Sorry, that dipped off a little bit there.
Yeah, it froze up on us. Spain to the U.S. Did you or do you work another job besides the online coaching?
No, no, that's yeah, that's what I do now.
Okay.
And I used to train people in person, but no, I don't do that anymore.
Okay. Did you, not to get into your personal business, but at the level of boxing that you were in, did you make money? I don't know, have any concept of what professional boxers make at the various stages of that game?
Yeah, no, yeah, people often ask because it's yeah, you just don't know. You hear these numbers that certain fighters are making, and it's like that it's big, but that's the 1%,
Yeah.
and obviously and plus it sounds like I maybe made a hell of a lot of money because I moved to Spain after I
Yeah,
after
you're
I
living on
stopped.
an island on
Yeah,
the coast.
got him retired on the beach. That's not the case. I've been grinding ever since, just in a different way. And so the short answer is no. Like I was a pro for 7 years, and I had sponsors who helped me, but you don't make money, and I suppose this is all the way through, really, through all the levels. You don't make money, one, unless you fight, and two, unless people pay to watch you fight.
Hmm.
So unless you've got a great following, maybe you're just a really popular guy, or you're a massive puncher, and if you don't have TV, if you don't have a TV deal, then it's going to be really hard. And I thought I was very active as a pro. I had 16 fights in my first like 2.5 years, and so built up a good record, big following, and I used to sell a lot of tickets. Still doesn't wasn't there's no TV, so there's no real money. I fought for free on occasions, because I just needed to get out, get busy, and get out there. Um, and then and then I was headlining shows in my hometown, but still off TV. Not The money just gets invested back into life again, and living until the
Mm-hmm.
next fight. And or maybe down the line there'll be big payouts, but
We had another glitch in the matrix. Go back. So you said the money gets reinvested back into life.
yeah, back into life, and then you go again, and then you're back in, and yeah, and it's a hard game. It's yeah, like I said, I had sponsors, but no, I didn't. I was kind of half and half working throughout the training people throughout the. I had a quite a spell where I wasn't training anyone and just boxing, but it was always in the background. Like after the fights, I'd go back training people.
It's a crazy thing. A lot of these sports, boxing, jiu-jitsu. I've got a friend, his name's Bryce Frank. He was the U.S. heavyweight Muay Thai champ, and I think he was ranked 3 in the world for heavyweight. He's a member of our gym. Just had a jiu-jitsu match. He's about my age, the ADCC match, and sustained an injury, and he'll keep training, but was world champion. And he's a police officer. He's, trains people. He's at our gym every day when he's not working. And you see that level of commitment, like, but then somebody can be like Jake Paul and people are interested because he's got like this persona and you want to see him get his fucking teeth mashed in. And
he built up like a, but then like I kind of with him, I kind of I'm kind of like, you know, fair play. Like he's built up. He's with him. He's obviously worked hard. He's obviously got a pretty good work ethic because he's built up a YouTube following of, I don't know how many he's got, but it's in the millions, I think. And you know, I mean, we both know that how hard that is to do that, build a following across social media, and get people actually interested in whatever you're doing.
right.
You got to put a lot on the line as well, because like putting yourself out there can be a bit of a you know, the amount of people who say they're going to make an online program or an online this and never do because it's not perfect. Oh, I don't know what people will think. So he obviously doesn't give a fuck and is just like he's just gone out and been himself. And so I can respect that. It's just a bit crazy that he's like making so much money from actually from boxing.
Yeah. People want to see stuff. It's like watching a bear ride a unicycle or something. People want to see off the wall or different things. That's interesting.
And I don't with him. I don't think he's necessarily that bad. I think he's dedicating a lot of time to his training.
Yeah, you can see it in his physique and in his body movements.
Yeah, and he wasn't that far off beating Tommy Fury in that fight. I mean, Tommy Fury's not great himself, but so yeah, it's not. It's just that was just like a very low level, what you call small hall. In the US, I think you'd call it like a club fight, like a club fight. You know, it wouldn't be on TV, but it was just like not a bad fight, not a $30 million purse level fight.
Which tells you something about the general public and advertisers. And so it's not just about skill and all that stuff. Maybe that comes back to the beginning conversation of the dirtiness of the business.
Yeah. I think boxing has always had an element of that. Even if you go way back, like Jake LaMotta days, he was, you know, the mob were like controlling things. Even Jake LaMotta admitted to throwing a fight for the mob. I don't know. I'm not saying that's happened now, but you just don't know. And it is a it's one of those sports that's we love it, but there's a bit of you that has to accept there's some shady things that goes down, I think.
That's probably true. Is your alarm clock the eye of the tiger?
It's not. No, it's not, because my wife would kill me.
Because you're on the beach and you don't have an alarm clock. You just wake up whenever.
Just naturally. No, it's that would be lovely. No, it's normally my son's foot going straight into my neck.
I miss those days. My daughter, who's now a mother of her own, she'd do that. She'd be like sideways in the bed, go all the way 360, walk her feet up your face, and
yeah. It's
spin her back around, throw the blanket on her, and she'd
yeah, you can like spin them round and not wake them up. It's crazy, but yeah, you can't make a sound without them waking up. But yeah, so that's my alarm clock at the moment.
Feet coming up the face. How is the program doing? How do people find it? How do they get involved?
Yeah, it's going great. I do so most of my like marketing stuff is to find me is on Instagram, and through my Instagram account, people reach out and might say that they've they often ask like, "Oh, how does it work?" Because it is a kind of, "Oh, how does it work?" It's not such a common thing still.
So somebody goes on the website, they sign up, they pay you some money, of course, and then they get access to the videos.
Uh, no. So what they do is people will only come in if they've messaged me, if we have a
Okay.
conversation in the messaging, and then
Okay.
we'll have a phone call as well, and 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 then we'll uh, yeah, and then we'll discuss it on the phone,
Okay. So
and then
you're not just like watching videos and following along. You're not Tony Horton and P90X or something.
no.
And one and two and three and four and one and two and three and four.
The amount of people who have told me they've done P90X when they reach out is crazy. I
So
didn't even know what it was, but I had to go and check it out because so
you're a
many had
bad
said.
human if you don't know what that is. On
Yeah.
a quick side note, not to derail the conversation, this asshole bought it for whatever it was, $100, and I bet you it's still in the cellophane somewhere in the house. I probably never opened it up.
Yeah, well, that's a really good point because that's what I originally you could just go on a site and buy my thing, and it wasn't the follow along workouts, and then I completely changed everything after like a few months, and I so we have to have a conversation, and because I'm going to be working with the person closely, and I want to make sure it's someone I like as well, and make sure they like me, and we're a good fit. And then when they come in, they get they get the program released to them step by step, and we'll tailor other stuff to them as well, like the nutrition and and other workouts depending on what equipment they have and what the goal is, and we're in contact. We have weekly check-ins. I
Okay.
do a group Zoom call with all the guys once a week. They send in their boxing videos into the app, and I send feedback. So there's a relationship there, and I've met up with a lot of the guys since I've done it as well.
People from all over the world.
Yeah, mainly America and the UK and Australia and dotted around Europe as well.
Do you get to the US at all?
Yeah, I actually went twice last year. I went to Nashville,
Oh,
um,
cool.
yeah, to a like a fitness convention to learn more about what I do as well. That was Nashville's crazy. Yeah, that was I wasn't it was cool, very cool, but yeah, that was good. And I did a similar one in Vegas in December.
That city's crazy.
Yeah, but in Vegas wasn't actually a smart trip because I was so jet lagged. I was there for like 2 days. I just about recovered and then came home and was jet lagged on the other side and and was just basically like ruined my month.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If you get back out here again, we'll have to hook up and film something. I'm actually
Definitely.
coming to the UK this September. I've never been. I'm looking forward to that. My coach, my jujitsu coach, Dan Hart, and another friend of ours, Leah Stump, are doing a jujitsu seminar.
Cool. Whereabouts in the UK?
They're in. It's going to be in Ireland. I forgot what
Nice.
community. I'll have to look it up.
I've done it. I've been a friend of mine here has a jujitsu school.
In
He's
Spain.
American. Yeah, in New York, and he's American actually.
What's his name? I'm gonna write it down.
Joe Note, but not. I actually don't know how. I'm good friends with him. I can't pronounce his last name. It's Joe Not
What's the
Bert
name of the
Not
gym?
Mallorca BJJ.
How do I spell the name of your city?
Mallorca. And yeah, I went to I went to a couple of classes, and I've got to admit, I absolutely loved it. I was like, this is incredible. You can spar hard, like I have a full blown fight without coming away with a headache.
Right, right.
But
It's one of
yeah,
the few things you can do that in.
yeah, I absolutely loved it, and I do plan on my time's been a bit stretched, but I would like to do it. And they actually had last year, Joe was running a session, and he said he took like a double take at someone who had walked in the gym, and Conor McGregor had just walked into the gym. He was on holiday, and just trained with them all for like an hour, rolled with everyone.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Get some sweat on.
Yeah. So
That's super cool.
But yeah, where in the States are you?
Near Chicago, Illinois.
Okay, cool.
Heartland, middle of the country. I come to Nashville 3-4 times a year. I've got a good friend, one of the guys that works with me is in a little town just outside of Nashville. And then one of our biggest training events, our S12 event, we hold just outside of Nashville, about a half hour, 45 minutes from the airport. So I'm down there 2, 3, 4 times a year.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
I do get.
Yeah.
So this program is not what I thought it was. I thought it was more just like buy these videos, but so you're getting actual connection to you and tutelage. So somebody could message you and say, hey, am I holding my hands right? Or I've got this problem when I'm doing this certain punch or combination, doesn't make sense. And you help sort it out.
Yeah. Like exactly that. And we're in constant kind of flow of conversation in the app, and we'll speak. We do the check-ins every week, and we've got the group calls as well, and we also do like a monthly one-on-one call as well. Sometimes more.
So you've actually developed an app. You're not just communicating through Instagram or WhatsApp or something. You're in this app, so you can. The person goes into what's the app called? What's your
Yeah, it's all done through the app. So it's called the Fight Shape Project. So
Fight Shape Project.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be able to just go and download it because
sure, I guess
pay for it. Yeah, because we have to go through a chat first.
Sure, I'm not trying to download it. I'm just making sure people aren't. I'm trying to do a fucking sales pitch for you, Lloyd.
Yeah.
But I like that. So you've got some exclusivity. You can't just go buy it. They got to make sure that you're a fit. Is there a cost that you can talk about?
And so it depends on the person and the goals. There's there's a few different levels of depending on the accountability and what the goal is, what that person needs at the time. So yeah, it will depend on that, and it just depends as well on, if, because I don't want anyone to do it who's not going to do it. Do you know what I mean? So
Sure.
I don't want it,
so we're
because that's
talking
a
like
bad
a couple $100 a month here, a couple $1,000 a month. What are we talking?
Yeah, there's different levels of depending on where the person's at. So yeah, my lowest cost program will be the fight camp, which is running at the moment, and that's 97 euros, which is basically dollars, the same as dollars for the 8 weeks that the guys are on.
That's cheap.
Yeah, and it's and that's going really well. That's the first time I've ran that one as well.
I like it. And the high end?
And then the high end will be the higher end will have a lot more accountability, and it's all personalized to them, and we're in a lot more contact. And then that will depend on the person, but upwards of like a few $100 a month.
So still nothing crazy. Something that's comparable to going to a gym or a personal trainer or something. That's cool.
Yeah. And it's got to be positioned like I want it to be affordable, but or people to get result as well. So
I like it.
don't want to sit in the email for I've bought stuff and just left it in the email before. Yeah, I thought it'd be cool to learn to do a handstand. I bought this handstand course, and
I've
I
got
don't know, I don't know what
I've
it's
got
like.
that handstand course too.
Yeah, yeah, it's a nice idea, but
We got sold, man. We got sold. I like it.
yeah.
I appreciate that you took the time to come visit with us. I like to ask people as we're parting ways, if you never meet the people that listen today, if you never cross paths with them, what would you leave them with? It can be anything. Doesn't have to do with boxing. It could be all about boxing. I don't care. What would you leave people with if they never meet you?
Um, I would like a parting kind of no. I mean I won't get I don't want to risk coming across as patronizing or
You say whatever the hell you want to. Say whatever.
overly
Say what
philosophical.
you can be philosophical. You can say whatever you want.
It'll have my the quote will have the quotation marks of my name and the date afterwards.
And then it'll say patronizing, overly philosophical. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Say whatever comes to mind, brother.
I would say to really one of the things I've really throughout like boxing and what I'm doing now that's that's helped me achieve a level of success. I'm not saying I was undisputed world champion or a billionaire online guy, but something that's helped me is to really like believing in what you want to do. So everyone has like a goal, something they want to achieve, but to actually believe in it, like believe that you can do it, visualize every scenario of, I would always visualize every scenario that could happen before a fight, visualize getting knocked out, visualize knocking someone out, visualize losing on points, visualize crying in the change room because I lost, all of those kind of things and how it made me feel. Um, and then, and yeah, and I've even done that now with what I'm doing now, with if it's working, if like the program and all the stuff I'm doing now would work, visualize what that would mean, what it'd mean if it didn't work, and what I would do, that stuff. So I would say, yeah, just everyone's got a goal, everyone's got goals, but visualize what it looks like, and then you can see if you really want it or not. And if you want it, you make it happen.
I like that. Your concept of visualizing the negative outcome is not something I hear many people talk about. Why did you do that, or why do you do that?
I think it was. I think because it's a scenario that can happen. Like I'd visualize like being dropped in the fight. Um, like what you if you suddenly end up on the canvas in the fight, then you don't know you don't know how you're going to react. The first time I got dropped in a fight, my trainer was like, I was fighting a very good fighter, and he was like, go out, put it on him straight away, stick it on him. I had a good right hand, so put the right hand on him straight away. I ran straight across the ring, went to just led with the right hand. He just leant back, threw a left hook, and I landed halfway across the ring, like under the bottom rope, and and I got up and I done well and I won the fight. Um, but yeah, you can freeze under those situations sometimes.
So when you are visualizing these less than desirable outcomes, you're not just visualizing getting knocked down, you're visualizing getting back up. Is that
Yeah,
what you're
yeah,
saying?
yeah. No, but also visualizing what it would mean to get knocked out. What it'd mean to face everyone afterwards and tell them I lost. What it'd mean for like everyone's memory of me to be that that I lost, and I don't want that. I didn't want that at all. So
So
it would drive me.
it was a deterrent to you. This does not seem, I don't want to go in the house and tell my wife or my partner that I can't pay the bills because my business is failing. So
Yeah,
I need to make it work.
Yeah, totally. Because just gonna put my laptop on charge. But exactly that. Like it's a whether it's motivation. I know a lot of motivation, something that most people kind of say they struggle with it when it comes to if it's getting in shape or launching an idea that they've had. Um, so yeah, what does it mean if you don't do it? It might mean that you stay stuck in a job that you hate forever,
Hmm.
um, or it might mean that you stay overweight forever, and then you can't run around with your kids or yeah, or be like what you actually want to be. So it's yeah. Where was my coach? I remember my coach getting me to do that before fights, and yeah, it kind of stuck with me.
I dig it. I like it. I think
Yeah,
that we got to be cautious because it's easy for people to just fixate on that stuff, all the bad stuff. You got to be able to harness it, to put the effort in, to go put the road work in, and the
yeah,
exercise and the pounding of the fundamentals, whatever it is, so that you don't have the negative outcome. Because I think I don't want anybody to misunderstand what you're saying. Not that you didn't articulate yourself well, but I want to make sure, oh, this guy was a professional and he says, think about the bad shit. Like, that's not what
yeah,
you're saying. You're saying,
yeah,
think about it so that then you can focus yourself for a good outcome.
yeah, and so that and it's not always going to be it's not always going to go perfectly either. Um, so when things don't go well, you're prepared and you can come back. Things are never going to go according to plan generally in anything, are they? Like in any business, in any fight,
Mm-hmm.
it never goes. It was what's to say? Everyone's got a plan to get punched in the face.
Yeah. Yeah. All my military guys say no plan survives first contact. Like
Yeah.
everything falls apart once the first bomb or gunshots fired. Like something changes. Like, so you got to be able to pivot, but still the goal is to win, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so if you know that things aren't gonna go well, like, and losing a fight doesn't mean that you can't come back, doesn't mean that you can't win long term,
Yeah, yeah.
because you're gonna lose at some stage, unless you're Floyd Mayweather's a very, very rare case and an unusual case, but at some stage you're gonna face adversity and you're gonna have to come back. You're gonna have to dig deep and come back,
I like it.
because there's
So
been a lot of fighters who lose and then they never come back.
something gets broken in their spirit.
Yeah, they're just not the same again, and they you don't even like big time fighters who don't ever come back.
I'm sure that is seen in all parts of humanity.
Yeah,
Failing the test, or the girl turns you down, or the customer doesn't buy and people just quit.
yeah, it's like, it doesn't work. I'm not going to try again.
Yeah, that's true. I was just actually thinking about when we started, you talking about having that streak of losses, 7 losses, was it?
Yeah.
That's a big deal. And there's a lot of people, because how long did it take to go through those 7 fights? Was that like a couple months, a year?
I think that was about. I think that was about. I think that was about 6 months.
So that's like a pretty consistent string of, I'll
Oh,
use
it
the
was
word
horrible.
failure. So you're laying in bed at night, your
Yeah,
training partners, your parents, then
going
like,
to going to school and say, "Oh, how'd you get on with that?" I lost, and you can see the. Unfortunately, this is how human beings are a lot of the time. People kind of happy. Like, not that they weren't my friends, but people, they don't want to see you do too good, especially kids. When I was like won my first 2 fights, I thought I was the man, and then you go in, say you lost, it's like, what happened? Like, they want to know details then.
Mhm.
So it's so that was horrible. But that happens to, I think there's so many fighters who have had similar things. Like there's an triple Olympic champion, one of the best amateur fighters ever, a Cuban called Felix Savon. He lost his first, I think it's his first 15 or 20 amateur fights. He ended up winning the Olympics 3 times.
You can't quit.
Yeah. So it's
seems like once you develop that habit, it just permeates the rest of your life.
Yeah. And then you're not going to give up with anything. Doing this whole online stuff is you'll know as well. It's you got to have quite thick skin. You got to be prepared to do stuff that a lot of people aren't prepared to do and work really hard. So there needs to be something. I think you've got to have something in you, or develop something that gives you that ability to do that.
I agree. How do people find you? What's the Instagram tag?
It's at Lightning Lloyd.
At Lightning Lloyd. Lloyd is spelled Lloyd.
Yeah. And then
any underscores or anything in there? It's just one big long word.
It's Lightning_Lloyd.
Okay, I thought so. And they can connect with you there. They can send you a DM. They can talk to you about your products and
talk to me about anything.
And they can see tons of videos of you there.
That's it. Yeah. Letting the hands go.
Yeah, letting the hands go. I dig it, man. I really appreciate you taking the time. I'm glad that we got a chance to do it. You guys that tuned in. Yeah, man. You guys that tuned in, if you've seen this guy or heard of him, throw something in the comments. If you haven't, go check out his Instagram page and see why I was excited to bring him on and share him with you. Maybe consider training the boxing program and get fit, burn off some of that storage unit you've developed on your midsection. Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, brilliant.
As always, be well, don't be dickheads. Tell Drew thank you for all of his hard editing work, and we'll talk to you guys soon. It's the Higher Line.
Visit our website, Carrytrainer.com, for information about classes held throughout the U.S., Carrytrainer apparel, and upcoming projects. You can also email us at training@carrytrainer.com for information about setting up your own private course or speaking engagement. Training@carrytrainer.com or carrytrainer.com.
I said I got me some gunfighter gun law. Gunfighter gun law, baby. Gunfighter gun law, no more gunfighter blues. Made in the USA, amazing lubricity, 100% synthetic, baby. So it's gonna last you longer. So go on Carrytrainer.com and order yourself some gunfighter gun or gunfighter lube to get rid of your gunfighter blues. I said go on and order yourself some gunfighter lube. Yeah!